What they found was a neural network inside the human heart. They found about 40,000 specialized cells. They're called sensory neurites. They're like neurons, brain, but they're not in the brain. They're in the heart. They think independently of the human brain. They feel independently of the human brain. They sense, they remember independently of the human brain. So right there, I've just said a big piece of information that affects all of us, and here's why. We all have had trauma in our lives, every one of us. But our trauma is perceived differently through the filters of our life experience. So your trauma might have devastated you when you were 3 years old, and then you tell me about it, and I'll say, what's the big deal, Or my trauma my father left our home when I was 10, and it traumatized me because it said something about safety in the world and not feeling safe. And I still deal with that. I'm still healing that. And I might say it to you, and you would say, what's the big deal? My dad left, and hey, piece of cake. The point is our trauma is individualized. It's personalized. It's unique. But every one of us has it. When we have trauma, it's registered in multiple places. And if you attempt to heal that trauma only through thinking and talking about it from the mind, it can help. And I think it's a good thing to do. But many people say, wow, I've done that and I feel incomplete. Now we know why. Because the talking or the therapies may not have addressed the thinking and the memory independent in the heart. The heart has a very different language. It doesn't always work with the words. So this is one of the amazing things that we're finding out about the human heart. When I was in school back in the 1950s and 60s, it's a mind blower to me to say that. But when I was in school in the 50s and 60s, I was taught that the heart is the master organ in the body, number one, and that it's a pump. And we all know it pumps really well, but you can build a machine to do that. Here's what the new discoveries are showing now, is that the brain's important. I'm sorry, did I say heart? The brain's the master organ in the body. The brain is the master organ. That's what we were taught. But the brain receives the instructions that tell it what to do from the heart. The heart sends those instructions based on the way we feel about the world around us. And those perceptions are all through the filters of our experience. So all of a sudden, the heart becomes front and center because we now know the heart is telling the brain how to regulate the body, number one. Number two, the heart, this neural network, is key in what we call heart intelligence. In the last episode of this podcast, we talked about how memory, information, our divinity, our imagination, our creativity, our innovation, our intuition are all information in the field that we tune to, rather than that information actually residing in these cells, in these neurons. Scientists they've looked at the neurons and are saying, where's the memory? Where's the memory? Well, the memory's not in the neurons. The neurons are the antenna. They are a soft antenna, a biological antenna that is in resonance. They tune